Shalom to the nation of Israel. This is Bar Razal coming in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shad Bahashim, or Ha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of the great millstone and to the hopeful elect pushing his word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. This lesson will be titled The Duty of a Prophet. Right? So go on the word prophet in the etymology. Prophet, in etymology, a late 12th century person who speaks for Yahweh. There you go. So the Most High will use a man, right, to push his word out, right? But the thing is, people in the world, they are like, well, I'm not going to do it until the Most High tells me. Like, look, Most High's not going to, like, who are you to like, what's so special about you that the Most High's going to come down here, like, Larry come down here and talk to you specifically, personally? No. Now, he could do that if he wanted to. And they even have it in the scriptures where the Most High was going to do that. They were talking to Moses. Like, oh, we don't want to talk to you, Moses. We don't talk to the Most High. And he's like, okay, right? And the Most High, Moses went and told the Most High. He's like, okay. Then Most High told him what to do. Sanctify themselves for 3 days. I'm just roughly going into the story. And then on the third day, he will come and see them. And then he came, and then all the thunder and lightning, the ground was shaking, and then they got scared. They're like, no, we'll talk to Moses. We don't want to talk to the Most High, right? So the Most High came here by himself in his omnipotent energy. You'd be destroyed. You can't handle that, right? So that's why he uses his men, right? His prophets. So person who speaks for Yahweh, one who foretells, right? So this prophet also tells you what's going to happen before it happens. That's why the word prophet means speak before. So he's speaking about something before it happens. Inspired preacher. Also says interpreter. Yeah, so someone who interprets the scriptures, who breaks it down, right? And it says an authoritative person who divines the future, right? Someone who speaks by divine inspiration, someone who is an interpreter of the will of Yahweh. Yeah. So we're going to start off at Ecclesiastes, actually. Ecclesiastes 18. Right, because especially what's going on right now, we got those two countries, can't say the names because video might be clipped. We got the two countries going on right now that are fighting, at war. And this was already prophesied in the scriptures. It was already prophesied in the scriptures that all this stuff is going to happen. Now, with that being said, when it comes to that topic, what's going on there, we are still not out of here yet because another prophecy has to happen before that happens. There's still things that need to happen before that happens, right? Like the MOTB hasn't showed up yet. Like it is coming. You can see it. They're talking about it. And if you watch your news and stuff like that, they were talking about it actually 2 years ago. If you actually were paying attention back then, right? They were already talking about it, especially in Canada, they were talking about it. And I know other places they're talking about it too. In some countries, they already have it. But when it's pushed out throughout the whole planet, right? That's a different story. So, they've already been talking about it. So that has to come up first. That has to be issued and pushed out first. And then you have Jacob's trouble. So there's things that have to happen first. But this that's happening is also with the two countries is part of prophecy. So that's going to, the way it looks like it's going to go on for it's not going to be just like a one and done. It's going to go on for a while, right? And I think the way I see it, right, especially the other elders and apostles talk about, the way I see it too also is that other prophecies are going to happen while that is happening, right? While that's happening, the other things are going to happen. And then when that war is done, it's going to lead to another one, right? Anyways, so that's just, that's another topic, but the point is that it was prophesied before through the prophets. They spoke about something before it happened, right? And we're in a time where prophecies are happening. So Ecclesiastes 18 and 30. Go not after thy lust, but refrain thyself from thine appetites, right? So as a prophet, you're in the world. So you're still in the world. There's things you want to do, but you can't do it, right? Because you have to push the word. You have to do your job. You have a job to do. Once you've been, once you, I think, roughly paraphrasing, there's a scripture. It says, prepare yourself to serve the Lord, thy Lord. Basically, prepare yourself when it comes to serving the Lord to be tempted, right? By temptations, roughly paraphrasing. So you're going to be tempted with a lot of temptations, it might be women, it might even be food. It might be, there might be so many things like work. Maybe someone say, oh, you're good at this job. You want to give you more money. You want to push up in the business and the company, whatever. But being pushed up in the company will take less time. I'll take more time away from the truth, from studying and doing things. So then you're like, oh, I can't do that. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to sacrifice something to get another thing. And the scriptures also say a servant can't serve two masters, roughly paraphrasing. So you can't go and serve this master of the world, whatever is your job, right? Serve him and then try to serve the truth. You try to serve Yahweh Shem Shai. You can't do that, right? It says you'll love one and hate the other, because the other one is taking time from the other one. So, right, that's what it says. Go not after thy lust, but refrain thyself from thine appetite. So don't go after your lust, things that you lust after. You have to really refrain yourself and be disciplined and suffer. There's things you want to do and things you want, but you just can't do it because you have a job. If it's taking you out of your job, your spiritual job, then you can't do it. That's just the reality. Yeah, it sucks, but that's just the reality. You just got to fucking deal with it. Right? Just like a soldier in the army. There's things that he wants to do. He doesn't want, there's things he wants to do, but it doesn't matter. He has a job. He has orders. And the soldier that doesn't follow the orders gets taken out. And then the general's going to put a soldier that's going to follow orders, who's going to be a soldier. Right? So as a prophet, we have jobs. You have a job. You have to prophesy. Right? So go to Ecclesiastes, we're going to Ezekiel 3:17. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the words at my mouth and give them warning from me. Right? So give who warning? Israel. You got to warn Israel, right, of what's coming, what's going to happen, about the fact that they're being wicked, they're sinning, and that, the prophecies are also coming too, to prepare themselves. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thy hand. Right? Just like I said. So you had to warn the Israelites to turn away from that wickedness. Right? Because the Edomites, they can't turn away from it. They're wicked. Doesn't matter what you tell them. Now, we're still supposed to prophesy to them to tell them that they're Edomite and tell them what's going to happen to them, that they're going to go into slavery, all that. So we still have to prophesy to everybody. But more importantly, to Israel, we got to prophesy to them to give them a chance to turn away from their wickedness. Right? Because they can actually change, if they're a 2/3 or not. If they're a 2/3, they're not going to change. Right? But you still got to tell them regardless. You still got to tell them. It doesn't matter. And we're going to read up to 21. Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity. But thou shalt have delivered thy soul. Right? So then you deliver your soul by telling the wicked, right, from that wicked thing he's doing. Whatever he's doing that's wicked, you tell him. And if he doesn't do it, you're still good, because you're doing your job, because that's your job. But if you don't do your job, your soul is at risk. And you put the other person's soul at risk, because it's your job to tell them, whether they hear or they forbear. Right? That's why I said you got to prophesy to everybody, whether they are the wicked or whether they're being wicked, because those are two different things. Again, when a righteous man doth turn from his righteousness and commit iniquity, and I lay a stumbling block before him, he shall die, because thou hast not given him warning. He shall die in his sin, and his righteousness which he hath done shall not be remembered, but his blood will I require at thy hand. So if someone is, a righteous man, and he falls, he stumbles, he's going on the wrong path, you got to tell him. You have to tell them, regardless of how uncomfortable the situation, the conversation is going to be. You have to tell them. It's like, yo, this is what's going on. I seen you do this, and this. Even if he gets mad at you and he buckles against what you're saying, it doesn't fucking matter. You tell him what you have to tell him, right? You can't control whether he listens to what you're saying. All you can control is what you do, which is doing your job. Because now you told him, so now it's not on your hand anymore. You told him, now it's between him and the Most High. You did your job, so you delivered your soul. That's why the scriptures say, work out thy own salvation with fear and trembling. Right? Because you have to be afraid. The Most High can take you out at any moment. He can make you have an aneurysm. He can make a bug, just some dangerous, poisonous bug that you've never seen before, just come and bite you and you die. Like, he can make you choke on your food and you're eating. He can make someone just barge into your house and shoot you and kill. Like, anything he can do it. He can do it. So if you don't have that fear, sometimes he'll give you that fear to get you back in track. And if you already have it, then you understand. You understand. You got to do your job. And you getting fired, there's a lot of ways for you to get fired. He can kill you, or he can give you the plague of the mind, right? He can save you for the end. Like, man, there's so many ways. So just do your job. It doesn't matter how you feel. That's why you have to control your emotions. A lot of the times when you don't do your job, it's because you don't have control of your emotions. So as a prophet, you have to do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel, because you're a soldier, right? Because you're still in the flesh, but it doesn't fucking matter. Regardless of how you feel, you got to do your job. Right? In verse 21, nevertheless, if thou warn the righteous man that the righteous sin not, and he doth not sin, he surely live, because he is warned. Also that thou hast delivered thy soul. Right? So you have to be that fearful of not doing your job. Right? You have to be afraid, man. You have to be afraid, which is going to motivate you and electrify you to do your job. Because it happens. Sometimes, demons jump on you, you're doing the week and things happen. But at the end of the day, like, you still, while that's happening, you still have to have that fear. That's going to push you to do what you have to do, regardless of how you're feeling, regardless of what's fucking happening. Right? So we're going to go to John 15 and 22. If I had not, this is Yahushua speaking, if I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin, but now they have no cloak for their sin. So basically, because like right now, a lot of people, they're ignorant because they don't know that they're sinning. They actually don't know. But until you prophesy to them, you tell them like, you're talking to these Israelites, like, yeah, what you're doing, eating pork, that's wicked, right? And this is why in the scriptures, it shows you right here, you're not supposed to be eating pork. So now that cloak for that sin that they've been committing has been taken off. So they can't hide it anymore because they've been told. So if they continue to eat pork, something will happen, right? They might get sick, or they, might end up in the hospital. They might choke on it. Something might happen. Something will happen, actually. Not might. Something will happen because they were told. Whether it happens right then and there or it happens later. So that cloak has been taken off because you prophesied and you told them what they're doing is wicked and what's going to happen if they continue to do it. Right? That's just a small example. That goes with everything. That's a job of a prophet. That's another job of the prophet, right? So now we're going to go to Ezekiel and 9. And we're going to read from 4 to 6. And the Lord Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Right? So the ones that are sighing and crying are the elect. Because they're the ones that are just sighing and crying to the Most High. Like, this place is wicked, needs to go. Or they're prophesying. Right? They're angry. They hate this place. Right? And the mark that he gave is the thawad, the mark of exemption. Because they're doing their job. Right? The Most High is going to protect the ones that are doing their job, which are the elect. The elect are going to be doing their job. Right? Right? Correctly. To the best of their ability. And to the others, he said, in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eye spare, neither have ye pity. So the ones that are not doing their job, he said, smite them. So he said, kill them. And sometimes the way he kills you, you don't know how it's going to happen. Like I said, It might be slow. It might be quick. It might save you for later. You don't know, right? Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near, any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. Right? So he said, begin at my sanctuary, which is the house of Israel. So the ones that know that the Israelites are going to get it, it's going to start there first. Because they already know. That's why you're starting to see it happening already. It's already starting to happen. Because they know. So they have no excuse. They can't say, I didn't know this. I didn't know, this was the right thing to do. No, you knew and you chose not to do it. You were told and you chose not to do it. So now this is your punishment. This is your judgment. Right? So that's it on that. And then we're going to go to Ecclesiastes 41. Right? So, you have to have that fear, man. You have to have that fear. Fear not Ecclesiastes 41:3. Fear not the sentence of death. Remember them that have been before thee and that come after, for this is the sentence of the Lord over all flesh. Exactly. So, as a prophet, you're not supposed to be fearing death. The fact that they're going to kill you, or, if you prophesy, the governments will come against you and kill you. Because that's the end game. Eventually, a lot of us some brothers are going to be taken, put in these camps. Some are going to get put to death, right? Or even if you're in a situation where you have to prophesy, like you're on the highways and byways, and there's some dangerous men out there, but you're doing your job. You can't fear dying because everyone dies. That's the point of what it says. It says, fear not the sentence of death. Remember them that have been before thee. So remember them that be before thee, the prophets before us, right? Remember them. They didn't fear death. They believed in Yahweh Shem Shai. They didn't fear dying. And you see how the Most High guided them out of every scenario, right? Because he believed in the Lord. And that come after. For this is the sentence of the Lord over all flesh, right? Everybody dies. Everyone's going to die. That's the point. If you're in the flesh, you already have the sentence of death. But, right? But even if you die, let's say you're, in the truth and you're one of the martyr, and if you die, the scriptures say you're going to get beamed up first. And you're just and all you're doing really when you die is you're just leaving the flesh. That's all that's really happening, right? Because you're a spirit. You're not your flesh. You're a spirit. You're just harboring this flesh, right? So that's the other thing too. So even because the scriptures also say, roughly paraphrasing, but basically, you be trusting into the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yoshai unto death. So even if they threaten you with your life, you still gotta be in a spirit of, I don't care. You're not giving me the MOTB, I don't care. So do what you have to do, right? Because they're gonna try and use death to make you afraid to renounce Yahweh Bashem Yoshai. That's why it says, do not fear death. Who cares? What's the point? All flesh dies, right? But now we get the incorruptible flesh that doesn't die, right? Because even to get into chariots, you still got to be chained. So you got to get rid of this incorruptible flesh anyways. So that's why you can't fear death, right? But as a prophet, you have to notice and you have to think about that, because you're going to be put in situations where you're going to be afraid because you're in the flesh. Your flesh is afraid because it doesn't want to die, right? Because it's weak. But your spirit has to be strong. It's like, whatever, man. Whatever. Even if you have a woman around you, she's getting afraid. That demon might jump on you. So you got to be strong in the spirit to have the whole armor of Yahweh Bashem Yoshai, it speaks out in the scriptures, to guard yourself and protect yourself against those demons. Right? You have to arm yourself with the scriptures. Because the scriptures it's all in the scriptures. You shouldn't be fearing death. Right? If you really truly understand, you shouldn't be fearing death at all. But like I said, it's going to happen. You're in the flesh. So you got to be able to deflect yourself and fight those things off, right? That's another duty of the prophet. So now we're going to go to Mark. Because especially what's going on right now, you have to understand, things are going to get crazy. They're going to get crazier. Everyone's getting calm right now because, mandates are getting pulled off and all this stuff. So they think things are going to get back to normal and things are cooling off, so to speak. That's usually when the hook comes. That's when the hook comes and things get turned up again, right? And they are getting turned up. You see, like I said, the wars that's going on, right? So, right? And it's going to come to a city near you. Mark 8 and 34. Let's get back on track. Mark 8 and 34. And when he had called the people unto him with his disciples also, he said unto them, whosoever will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. Right? For whosoever will save his life shall lose it. But whosoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospel, the same shall be saved. So I just basically just said that. So basically, right, you have to take up your cross. Right? So when you come in the truth, you have to understand that you sinned, man. You went off. You went off. When you're in the world, you're going off. And you have to take it also in your past life, you went off. Right? So you have to take up that burden, that weight, and carry your cross. Right? And you need to follow Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Because I had to deny yourself in the sense of what you wanted to do. Like, for me, it's like I wanted to play sports. I want to play football. I want to play professional sports. But I denied that. That denies, like, no, I'm not doing that anymore, man. I'm not doing that anymore. I seen the truth. I was going off. I need to repent, and I'm going to follow Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Right? And it says, whosoever will save his life shall lose it. So if you try, like I said before, that's why you can't be afraid to die. You can't be afraid of death. Because they're gonna, like I said, you're gonna be put in a scenario where you're gonna be trying to save your life. Oh, I gotta save my life. And they're gonna say, okay, you gotta take the MOTB. But it won't kill you. You'll be good. You can eat, blah, 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 blah. Right? You can eat, you'll be good, you can drink, you have shelter, blah, 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 blah. But you gotta take the MOTB. So you're trying to save your life. But because of that, you're gonna lose it. Because it says whoever takes the mark is gonna be killed. Right? They're gonna be killed. You're gonna have to come back as a kid, a child, as one of the elect. And you're gonna die a very painful death. Because the Most High will make sure it's painful. Right? But whosoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospel, the same shall be saved. So if you lose your life for the sake of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai and the truth, right, you'll be saved. Because like I said, if you get killed, because not everyone's going to die, but some will die for the truth's sake, right, you get beamed up anyways first. Because remember, you're just your spirit. Right? All flesh dies. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul, right? So you give up that, you get the MOTB, you're in the world, everything's good, you have money, right? You have shelter, you have food, you have women, but then you sold your soul just to get all that stuff. And you're going to die anyways, right? Just because you're afraid to die, right? So that's why I said you have to arm yourself with the scriptures, right? With the full armor. So we're going to go to Isaiah. Because it's serious, man. These demons are going to get heavier and stronger because they're going to really try to pull you out of the truth in any way they can. And because things are getting more crazier. So you're going to have to really, and the scriptures say, wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times, and the fear of the Lord thy treasure. So if you fear the Lord, right? You already fear what he can do to you if you don't do your job, right? That's going to keep you on the right track, right? And by doing your job is prophesying. You also got to study, you got to read. And that's why you're doing that. You're arming yourself with the scriptures. So when those demons come to try to get you afraid, oh, you're going to die, this is going to happen, you're not going to be able to eat, you're going to be able to knock it away because you're like, no, most sides. And all the scriptures even say, Yahweh Shai will take care of his men. His men will drink and they'll eat. So what do you have to really be worried about? And then let's say you do die. You're at the point where they're going to threaten you. It doesn't matter because the Most High said you're going to get beamed up first in the clouds. So you have nothing to worry about. Right? All that worrying and negative emotions comes from the flesh and demons. That's why you have to examine yourself at all times. The scriptures say to examine yourself whether you be in the faith. Right? That's why you got to put on that full armor to defend yourself against demons that try to attack you. right? It's going to get serious. This is war. Why do you think the scriptures are mentioned as armor, the breastplate, the sword, the helmet? It's war. It's war. It's spiritual warfare. It's spiritual warfare. We're dealing with spiritual things. It's spiritual war. And if you can't grasp that, then you're gonna get fucked up. This truth is not a joke. It's not a game. It's war. Okay? It's war. Right? And the general, the commander-in-chief, he wants soldiers. If you're not a soldier, he's not going to put you on the battlefield if you're not a soldier, because you're not ready. Right? You're not ready. And I'd say he puts you in the battlefield because, you know what, even sometimes there's a time frame for you to get ready, because, right, realistically, actually, I should say, a war, a lot of time the soldiers, when they come into recruits, they have a certain time frame to get ready for the battle. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. And the ones that are making themselves ready, because like I said, they're afraid, so they're doing what they have to do to make themselves ready. Those are the ones that actually survive, because they did all the things they need to be ready to handle the battle. And the ones that weren't making themselves ready, they die, because they're being lazy, they're being slackful, they weren't taking it seriously, right? They're being lukewarm, they're being cold, so they die, right? So you can't sit here and think that you have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time. So you have to be fearful for your life, whether you die or whether you don't die, right? You have to have that fear. Slakia, didn't need to go on that rant, but that kind of just came out. Isaiah 58:1, cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and shew my people their transgression, in the house of Jacob their sins. Yeah, so we're supposed to prophesy to Israel, tell them that they're going off, because they need to know. They just need to know. They can't be doing that shit and think that, that's right. And as a prophet, it should vex you when you see it. She's like, man, this is fucking wicked, right? But then you learn, over time, when to say something, when not to say something, because, So we're going to go to Amos 3 and 7. This wasn't supposed to be long, but, happens. Amos 3 and 7. Surely the Lord Yahweh will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. Right? So the Most High Yahweh Shem Shai reveals his secrets to the prophets. So if he reveals these secrets, you have to prophesy to the people, tell them what's going to happen. Because he's not going to reveal to them. So he's going to reveal to you, so you got to tell them. It's like, look, this is what the Most High said. Right? All right, you don't want to listen? Hey, that's on you. And this is what's going to happen if you don't listen. All right? The lion hath roared, who will not fear? The Lord Yahweh has spoken, who can but prophesy? Right? Yeah, when a lion roars, everyone's going to fear the lion. It's a lion. Right? Right? And when the Most High has spoken, who can but prophesy? Only the prophets can prophesy. So it's your job. Like I said, you even see in the scriptures when certain prophets didn't want to do their job, what the Most High did to them. He said Most High doesn't care if you want to do your job. If you're a prophet, he made you a prophet, that's your fucking job. Right? And you have to be afraid of the fact that he can take you and put someone else there, because he can. He can put someone else in your position. Right? Because like scripture says, you got to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. So you got to fight for your soul. This is a fight for your spirit, for your soul. And the Most High wants to see who's worthy. Yahweh Shem Shai wants to see who's worthy. Who's willing to do whatever it takes to fight for their spirit, their soul. Right? He wants to see who's worthy of the prize. Just like the big brother Yahweh Shai, what he did. His sacrifice. He was fighting for our souls, for the hopeful elect, but also his own at the same time too. He was paying for his own sins, just like we have to pay for our own sins. Like so it says, take up your cross and follow me. Just like how Shai took up his cross. We got to follow him. The same thing he did. We got to do it too. Right? You know what? And you know what? I already hit the point. I do have more scripts, but the point has been made. Right? As a prophet, we have duties. We have jobs. Right? So you have to really be taking it seriously. It's not a joke. It's not a game. Right? Especially what's happening right now in the world. So, just you have to have that fear. But don't have the fear and let it, what's the word I'm looking for? Don't let it make you stagnant where you don't do anything. You have to be electrified or motivated, right? So I hope this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect. It pushes word and truth across the four corners of the earth. And shalom until next time.